So let's talk just for a minute about your online identity. This is huge, and people are going to do a search on your name, and of course, everybody has to go through a background check. So I did a post on Facebook, I guess going on 5 years ago now, that it garnered some attention. I'm going to share that with you now. Dear young teacher seeking your first job, would you staple your Facebook profile picture to your resume? If the answer is no, you might consider changing it. By the way, everything you post on Facebook is stapled to your resume. Sincerely, prospective employer. P.S. Unfair? Maybe. Reality? Absolutely. And as you can see, I had, almost 950 people respond to this. I had a ton of comments. A few of them I got flamed. People telling me, you have the right to present yourself as you want. And my answer to that is, of course you do. But your prospective employer does not owe you an explanation as to why you were passed over. So back when MySpace was a thing, I used to tell young teachers, you got to wash your face and clean your space, and then get out there and find a job. Here's some actual tweets that show the impact of an online presence. So this is from Penn State, dropped another prospect this morning due to his social media presence. Actually, glad I got to see the real person before we offered him. Here's one from Duke. Our jobs depend on the young men that we recruit. Your social media pages say a lot about your character, discipline, and common sense. And from the institution I teach at here, SMU, came across an awful Twitter account today. Shame, the kid was really a good player. On to the next one, get a clue. What a shame. But assuming now that you've done the work, you've gotten your resume into the yes pile, your cover letter. So now they call you for an interview. We're not going to get into interview
real
skills
quick, Frank,
right now.
Real
Yeah,
quick,
sure.
Frank. I want to interject on kind of the online presence and stuff. When it comes to the social media, highly recommend make everything private. Make your Twitter, your Facebook, your Instagram, whatever you have, make it private. One, that's great once you kind of start get teaching, so your students and stuff just can't access and see your information and stuff. And two, that's just kind of help make sure that someone you don't want to see your stuff right away isn't seeing your stuff. You're not getting all these strange follows or stuff like that. Make your accounts private. Take time, deliberate time to sit down, scroll through your Twitter from back to, you probably don't want to see what you're talking about in high school or whatever, but just go down and delete anything that you're like, because I know I sat down, I took time, I went through it. I'm just like, I don't even know what I was thinking at that time. And I deleted it. And I mean, it's the amount of followers or whatever you have is not as important as getting a job.
Absolutely.
Because that's going to pay.
Well, but it's okay if you want to, if you have things on there that people would object to, absolutely make it private. But if there's nothing on there that's going to be negative, then heck, let it be public. Let people see. I used to tell my students, still do to this day, I ask them, how many of you have trouble sleeping sometimes at night? And of course, everybody's hand goes up. Said, I have the perfect solution. Go to my Facebook, check it out. Put you to sleep in no time. There's just nothing there that's controversial. It's all pretty innocuous. So when people go to my Facebook, I hope they'll see things that what I want to be an accurate reflection of who I am and what they can expect if I ever get to work with anybody in person. So, and of course, then I know that big online portfolios are very popular. It's a great way to give someone an opportunity to look through your materials, share a link with them where you've got an online portfolio that shows some of your examples of your work. I know, Dr. Payne, do you do any of that?
We do. So we have the students design a website, and we ask them to basically, it goes through and it aligns right now with the Kansas licensing standards for all of our teachers statewide. And so there, it's a repository of teaching videos, of lesson plans, of curriculum plans that they've written, assessments that they've designed. And then, so it's a mixture of these documents with rationale for here's what I did, here's how it fits this standard, here's why I'm meeting this standard as a teacher in the state of Kansas. And then we have them implement that throughout their interview portfolios. So we, at any point where they can, if they're in an interview and they said, well, what you mentioned on your resume that you had teaching experiences, and you say, well, yes, if you will go, here's a copy of a lesson that I've taught, and you'll notice at the bottom, YouTube link. at the YouTube link, you can see me teaching this lesson. And then that YouTube link is linked into or embedded within their website. So then when they go to see it, they're taken to a website that then has all of that information readily available, and really kind of gives a third dimension to the interview, which is because public schools, we don't often have a teaching episode built into those public school interviews. So that gives an added dimension for our candidates to be able to rely on in the interview process.
Just kind of a couple notes on building a website or having a professional website and stuff. One, there's a lot of great like resources for students for like student discounts or free website builders. I think Weebly is a great resource. I use Squarespace. Make sure that if you do make a website, though, that it does look professional. It doesn't look like you lopped it together for you because you had to for class. Make it look add to that professional persona that you're wanting to give off. If any of you listeners want to check out, I'll share a link to my website. It's just Eric Tinkler Music Education. You guys can go through all my pages and stuff. I have information about me. I have my resume, all that stuff on there. I have my kind of additional things like the podcast. I have a blog. I've made it a very professional thing. I have photos, and it's something about just continuing to build up who I am as a professional within the world of music education.
Well, and also just not to make this, Eric Tinkler Appreciation Day or anything, but when I went to your recital, which you did a beautiful job of, it was online because everything had to be, but you did a wonderful job of producing that to make it engaging. So it was not just the fact that you played well; it was an experience by what you created. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
And I think honestly, within this current climate, especially with graduates at the end of this year, moving into next year, this ability to be flexible and be able to deliver online content is going to be a huge point of emphasis within the interview process. So understanding, if you know how to design a website, or you understand how to deliver content from asynchronously, synchronously, you need to be able to share that, and you need to be able to figure out how to get that content to those interviewers as well. And so I think that's going to be a really important step for a lot of our new graduates.
Well, and on your resume, when it comes to additional skills, if you are fluent in PowerPoint or Keynote, Premiere Pro, or
any tech stuff looks really great today.
Yeah, and if you've got editing skills for video and audio, man, you're gonna get looked at.